Hello, I'm Alan James Burns. I'm here today to talk about a festival called Disrupt Disability Arts Festival that we recently launched in Ireland, which is where I currently am. I'm in I'm in Dublin, Ireland. I'm going to give an audio description of myself. I I identify with they them pronouns, but I kind of largely present as masculine. I have a ginger, true to form ginger Irish beard, brown hair, light skin, black t-shirt, and a kerfifa. I surrounded by plants as an effort to kind of soften the mode and create a welcoming aura about about the video. And then I also use my hands a lot when I talk. I I have neurodiversity, a dyslexia, autism, ADHD. So my brain kind of sometimes has kind of needs time and I need to stim and kind of move my hands in a very kind of visual way, and which can be an indicator that I'm thinking or that I'm kind of processing thought. Uh, People say that my hand when I'm talking that it looks like my hands just dance while I'm talking. So that's just an audio description of myself. So I might just jump into a presentation. So as I go through the presentation, I will this audio describe the different slides that come up and I will largely be using a social model language. However, sometimes I will kind of go between a disabled person, persons with disability, and persons with lived experience of disability. In Ireland, we kind of like to include the plurality of language, and in the different communities and sectors engage in different in that with that language differently. So, myself and Disrupt, we kind of engage with language, uh, that are that all language, in all of that form of language to be inclusive. So, the first slide is just the name of the festival, Disrupt Disability Arts Festival, with the Disrupt logo in the top left-hand corner, which is a giant D. That's kind of got squiggly lines jolting out of it, and the center of the D is kind of a weird, odd shape. It's kind of like as if the letter D itself has been disrupted. And then there's a kind of a location pin that says Ireland, Dublin, and online. And that's because Disrupt is an Irish festival, Irish Disability Arts Festival, which we our main location is our main physical location is Dublin, and then we also have everything online. The second slide is one of me. There's a photograph of myself from a younger time, not that long, not that younger, but a little young, like 2 years, with curlier hair though. My hair is a lot curlier in this picture. And there's text around the image, and I'll just read the text as I'm discussing the slide. And so as I go through the presentation, I will describe the images, and then the text that's on screen, I will read out or as I kind of discuss the topics of each slide. So I'm Alan James Burns. I'm a visual artist. I'm a curator. I'm a festival maker, recently. And I work primarily, as my artistic practice explores disability, neurodiversity, and the climate emergency, primarily through different mediums, including like using technology, traditional arts, theater-based arts, visual arts, etc. I have been working, creating for the last 20 something years, 22, 23 years. Uh, at the beginning, I struggled a lot to find my way of making and creating. When I left art college, the systems that were in place weren't supportive of neurodivergent kind of ways of being. So I kind of got lost for a good 10 years uh, until I kind of started finding my own feet. And then kind of embracing my neurodivergence and how I think and operate and kind of finding my own way to exist within the creative world and just the world. I grew up in a rural, a small town in Ireland, as a person with invisible disabilities. So I was kind of, no one was ever, I was never known to to be disabled or to be queer. So I was always just that person who was different or that weird kid. And that then, but that what that I because of that I had to create my own way and path in life. So I had to kind of find my own way of doing things and achieving things. So I began when I and then when I started to kind of overcome my own barriers, I found purpose in helping others overcome theirs, which is what led to initiation and the startup of a new disability arts festival, which I co-created and we launched this year with my colleagues Adrian Caldwell and Anya O'Hara. Disrupt launched this year, 2024. We started working on it 2 years ago, probably around 2022. We seen a need, a necessity, want, a desire for something like a disability arts festival in art to exist in Ireland, something that can bring people together to celebrate and come from across the disability community. Uh, So then we decided to set up an annual Disability Arts Festival so that we could dismantle barriers for artists and audiences across the Irish disability community, challenge prevailing notions about disability, and foster a more inclusive and engaged society. Our mission is to provide opportunities for a diverse and intersectional range of Irish artists and arts audiences with lived experience of disability to present and engage with a multitude of art forms. We aim to challenge preconceptions and prejudices surrounding the disability community through our programming, provide employment opportunities for people with lived experience of disability, both as artists and as arts workers, be at the forefront of combating access, needs, and engagement barriers to the arts in Ireland, constantly respond to the needs, language, and challenges of the disability community as they evolve, both in the arts sector and in the wider sector. Our key aim is to create an annual arts festival which will provide a unifying and welcoming space for celebrating the creativity of difference within the disability community. We, I'm going to share a short video now of about 1.5 minutes. It's off to give you an insight into what our festival looks like. It's of our recent and only festival. Uh, in March, which was in March this year. It all happened at one venue and online. And the venue was called Project Art Center. The video is a compilation video of many different short clips of people laughing and performing on stage, looking and engaging with artworks, filling out feedback forms, dancing to music and hugging each other throughout the video. And then there's credits at the end with logos and the names and then the logos of the funders, which I'll also discuss later on afterwards. So I'm going to play that video. So I am. There we go. Thank you. It's a bit emotional watching that video because it's so recent and it was like setting up a festival at the beginning is so much hard work, and it's so hard, but it's so worth it, and because it's so needed to have a space to come and talk about topics that interest us as a community, the things that bring us together, that we can celebrate. So I'm watching that video. So there's also so many amazing people working in the disability art sector in Ireland who are all in that video. Lots of them, some of them were in that video. So it's just nice to see. It's nice to see lovely faces. I haven't watched it actually in ages. Disrupt is so on the slides now, there's an image of Mairead Folan, a theatre performer. Mairead is on stage at Disrupt Disability Arts Festival with people, and you can the photographer has captured this image of her through the audience, so you can see the shadow of the audience in the foreground, and Mairead is leaning on her walking aid, and she's on stage. Disrupt is a multidisciplinary arts festival. So we program across all art forms, such as theatre, dance, literature, film, exhibition, and including workshops and panel discussions. We do this because it reflects the rich diversity of the disability arts community in Ireland. And we also believe that cross-disciplinary programming offers multiple entry points for artists and audiences. So different types of art forms are inherently more accessible to different types of people. So we want to use the festival to bridge the gap and work with different art forms so that their work can become more accessible and vice versa. And we're pooling knowledge and expertise together to combat barriers to arts engagement. Okay, so this is some images and photographs from our 2024 program. I say that as if we had other programs from other years. We haven't. So these are photographs from our festival. Up in the top left-hand corner, you have a panel discussion uh, with five people on stage. That's from our Disgender, Disability and Gender Identity panel discussion. We have then a photograph of Suzanne Walsh with their hands kind of spread out and a microphone coming up like kind of in front of them. They're obviously in a kind of a costume attire with strong blue drapes behind them. You have a photograph of the formidable Katia O'Leary, a dance artist and theatre performer. Katie is on stage with a projection behind them. They have a camera on their forehead. They're in their wheelchair on kind of a lilac kind of flooring. We have then a photograph of Ren Miano, a musician, a kind of a standing in front of kind of DJ decks with plants and lights kind of on a table surrounding them. And then we have a photograph of a workshop taking place by artist Michelle Hall. And there's people kind of doing kind of what looks like painting with a paintbrush with some leaves and foliage on a table in front of them spread across many pieces of paper. When creating our 2024 program and now creating our 2025 program, we kind of look out to the disability community across Ireland, and kind of trying to find things that the community are discussing through their art and through through their practice, and how then we can bring that together in Disrupt for like kind of panel discussion, or kind of a wider discussion that we can then kind of showcase a number of artists working on different topics and then have a discussion on it. So in 2024, we kind of some of the topics that we were kind of looking at, which was a panel, a series of events called This Gender, Disability and Gender Identity. So we're looking at how kind of we're interested in the intersectionality between disability and other marginalized or minoritized or disadvantaged groups. And obviously gender comes into that a lot. Disrupt lines up with International Women's Day. So we held an event on gender and how it intersects with disability. We also had an event on, we called it Embodiment, Disability and the Body in Art. So we worked with theatre performer, dancer, musician, and poet, and kind of looking at how obviously the disabled body and this is kind of used a lot within arts context as a kind of to, and that the body itself becomes something that's used a lot in our contexts, art contexts, and we were kind of there's a lot of conversations about how we choose and kind of choose not to use our bodies, and so we had a really brilliant live discussion on it. Other topic we discussed, which is the intersection of disability and the climate emergency. So obviously the climate emergency disproportionately affects different people differently. One group of people that it tends to affect quite a lot is people with disabilities. So we in our 2024 program, we were interested in programming performances and workshops and an exhibition to kind of explore that theme more in depth from artists from across the country who were yeah. Now, on the slide has we have a couple of we have a couple of quotes. So Disrupt is we're building the festival. There's a team of us that are building the festival, but we want it to be driven by the disability community, and we're constantly trying to get feedback and input and direction. Because we ultimately wanted we ultimately believe that the Disability Arts Festival doesn't really belong to anyone, but it belongs to the disability community. So here's just some quotes from our recent festival. The first one's by Louise Bruton, and there's a photograph of Louise on stage at Disrupt. There's kind of people in the foreground, shadowed against the photographers. I think this photographer has a style where they're kind of taking photographs of people on stage through audience members. So this Louise says, Disrupt is an amazing project that will be significantly contributing to the disability arts in Ireland. I feel that a designated disability arts festival is badly needed in Ireland. There's another quote then by David Burnell, and there's a photograph of David at the festival, kind of surrounded by his family and care support workers. David's everyone's kind of massive smiles on their face. David's wearing pink shirt, which is David's favorite color actually, and which is obviously also one of the main colors that we use to brand Disrupt. We love pink. We do. Okay, so David's quote is this exhibition was a hugely pivotal moment in my practice and provided my work with an exciting and a highly visible platform. As an emerging writer, this invitation was so pivotal for me. The access budget given allowed me the help I required and needed to realize this project. This new body of work could and would not be possible without this opportunity. It's important for Disrupt as a festival to platform emerging artists as well as more kind of mid-career and established. We kind of want to bring people together and provide opportunities and support and resources for emerging artists. So we are, and David's kind of an incredible emerging writer, and I'd encourage, as I would everyone, Louise and everyone I'd encourage everyone to go look at their websites and materials. There's another two quotes, one by Yvonne Condon. Again, another formidable, like amazing, formidable, I use that word a lot, artist. Yvonne is standing outside, what appears to be outside in front of a giant billboard, which Yvonne is pointing to, and it's a billboard of her artwork, which is a yellow nude, somebody reclining on a outside, taking up space to be themselves and enjoy their being kind of themselves in nature with no judgment and no one kind of no judgment. Yvonne's quote comes from Yvonne's support worker. Yvonne provided, Disrupt provided Yvonne with an opportunity to travel. Many of the disabled studio members that we work with have limited opportunities to travel. Disrupt offered Yvonne an opportunity to reinterpret and evaluate her work for a new and public context, and the opportunity to meet other artists in a professional and social context. There's another last quote, one by Ali Clark, a contemporary dancer. It's a photograph of Ali at the festival again, with the logos projected behind Ali. Ali's kind of, you can tell she's kind of mid-dance move, but her hair flowing behind her, her head kind of turning and her arms thrown out. She's kind of on a pivot of a dance move. Ali says, without a doubt, the most lovely experience I've had as a performer in this country. It is such a considered, caring, and warm space to exist and share art. I can't wait to see where the festival goes from here. Uh, so again, I just wanted to share those to kind of bring in the voices. I think it's important for us to bring in the voices of the art of the people that we're here to support and work with. Uh, we we also we as and I think we are it was kind of we tried really hard obviously to set up the festival to kind of to start off strong, so that it can last and kind of build upon itself. Just there's so much more we can get right, and there's so much more we were trying to get right and to do well. But it's I think these examples of quotes kind of show that we are trying. Uh, Access is really important, obviously, for any disability arts festival. Had we had on the screen there's a number of images showing an ISL, Irish Sign Language interpreter, a captioning screen, stim toys, pictures of stim toys and ear defenders, another one of books with book titles such as The Power of Neurodiversity, the the dyslexic advantage, visual thinking, and then there's an image of plants and stim toys, and a rest mats, and a sign with a QR code. When it's actually a Navi lens that says rest area. So Navi lenses, we're implementing them throughout our festival, and they're a type of kind of like a type of a QR code, but they're more accessible. So currently they work with a specific app, and they can tell the user how much distance they are away from the QR code. They're more readable at kind of in low light in different angles, and they can be implemented to support a visually impaired and blind people to navigate spaces in a more kind of fluid way. So we're kind of trialing those we kind of started working with those this year in our festival, and afterwards we were able to a kind of work with our festival partner, a Project Art Center, and they're now using the codes throughout the year for their kind of regular arts audiences. We work so other kind of we all with across Disrupt. We have like live captions, obviously, and audio descriptions. All our performances were streamed online. It's important. It's important that if that was the case for us, and rest areas, and we had loads of rest areas with stim toys. The things that were used most was know before you go guides, relaxed entry into performances, open captions. A We also find that an arts festival is also a disability arts festival is also somewhere where you can experiment a lot with access and introduce new forms of access. So Ireland's disability kind of inclusion journey is kind of going through a surge or a development period at the minute with a lot of a kind of support behind it, but we're in some ways a catching up on ourselves, and a so we're kind of new to a lot of creative access and embedded access. So this year we were able to work with some artists to introduce visual vernacular into their performances, which is more of like a kind of using visual their body in a way that can kind of tell stories visually as what as well as the words that they use. We also, in our exhibition, we kind of worked with technicians so that audiences could turn the audiences themselves could turn the volume of the entire exhibition up and down to suit their needs. So we did. One interesting thing that we found in this year's festival was the need for us to introduce a festival counselor, somebody who can support our artists and our team and ourselves as we're going through the festival. Disability is a kind of it's very traumatizing for a lot of people and has a lot of raw emotions. So, and as we're working with a lot of people who may have, and we're trying to provide a lot of care, and that actually brought up a lot of experiences or trauma or for some of the artists that we're working with, which in many ways is to be expected, but also some things that we weren't expecting. So because some of what we're doing, or because of our Ireland being very much in a kind of a new phase of supporting disabled people or people with lived experience of disability, then people are just kind of finally being seen, and that's kind of difficult sometimes to understand and navigate. So all that to just say that we're introducing when we're going for funding now, we're trying to get funding to bring on a therapist or a counselor that can support our artists and ourselves going forward. As I mentioned, it's important that all of our work is streamed online. And for something to be accessible, we need to kind of allow audiences to engage with it when they can't leave the house, when they are not based in the city, when they're ill at home, when their neurodivergence doesn't want them to leave the house, or many different reasons. So we have worked with a streaming company to stream all of our events, which are all available on our YouTube page, Disrupt Disability Arts Festival, YouTube. And I would encourage everyone to go look at them. There's incredible artists who will blow your mind because they've blown mine. Not that. And so I encourage that. Yes. So now I'm just going to talk. I chat a little bit about where Disrupt has come from. Uh, so there's been, as I mentioned, there's been a big kind of a movement or work within Ireland over many years. There's been people working at the intersection of art and disability for a dedicated amount of time, and so Disrupt builds on the hard work of so many people across the Irish art sector. And just there's a couple of images on screen now to show kind of other festivals that are taking place that are kind of or events that have taken place, and funders and organizations and artists that Disrupt now hopes to become like a part of this ecology, and to support other organizations and people working in the sector. And also to thank, and we just want to acknowledge that something like a Disability Arts Festival doesn't come out of nowhere. We now, so on screen in the center, we have an image of a load of people on stage who are actually loads of artists who got who got funding over the last 10 years from a piece of funding in Ireland called Arts and Disability Connect funding, and that's run by Arts and Disability Ireland, which is an organization that funds and promotes and platforms disability arts. It gets most of its funding directly from the Arts Council of Ireland here. And they've recently had an event to celebrate their 10 years of funding disability arts. So that's a whole other bunch of people, amazing people on stage who've gotten funding from that program. And that was only like actually a couple of weeks ago. And I'm in there on the right-hand side, and actually Adrian Caldwell, who also helped set up the festival, is in there too. A second from the far right. This piece of funding has been a major player within the support artists with disabilities, including myself, who from this award I was able to start engaging more within my arts practice, and especially and how to make my arts practice more accessible. And that led me on a path to now setting up the Disability Arts Festival. We have then on the far right, there's an image of a promo image for Bounce, which 2021, which Bounce is an annual arts fest or biannual arts festival in Northern Ireland. And they're in its 11th year. It's an disability arts festival that programs across the island of Ireland, and have been doing tremendous work and get fun and have tremendous work in the sector. And they've been working for years, and they're kind of we're kind of looking to them for guidance and from through their model, so that we're able to kind of look at something in the Republic of Ireland. We have an image there of Chronic Collective, which is run by two people, Tara Carroll and Anya O'Hara, and they started a collective to promote, discuss making art from a chronically ill perspective, and support disabled artists as well. They've been doing incredible work and ran an event a number of years ago that kind of also inspired us all setting up Disrupt as well. Neurofestivity is a new festival as well that is starting up, run by Jodie O'Neill, and it's a festival supporting artists with neurodivergence or who identify as neurodivergent, and it's taking place in Cork, which is kind of a smaller city in the Republic of Ireland, or the Republic in the south of Ireland. And then there's another photograph there of Disability Power Ireland, which is another festival that has kind of started up recently in Ireland, and it's a festival and social movement that draws attention to issues in the disability rights movement. So been a lot of recently. There's been a lot of initiatives and projects and things that are kind of flourishing and nurturing each other within the disability arts sector in Ireland. So there's a lot of energy around, and a lot of people doing a lot of amazing stuff. This is now an image of our main venue, Project Art Centre, who's our main partner. Project Art Centre is a multidisciplinary art centre in Dublin City Centre, whose mission is to inspire, provoke, and challenge through great art. It's a giant blue building in the middle of one of the busiest areas in Dublin called Temple Bar, which has cobblestone streets outside of it. And the project logo is a white circle with the word project in the center of it. Project have so when we were setting up Disrupt, so Project are our main like core partner, and we wouldn't be able to have set this festival up without them. They've been doing tremendous work within the disability sector, disability kind of promoting more inclusion, inclusiveness, accessibility for many years, starting up initiatives that are led on by disabled artists and from and kind of informed by voices of the disability community. Uh, so it is. We so they were kind of a very clear option for us to kind of ask to partner with because of their work. And their commitment to continuous dialogue with people who have a lived experience of disability to develop and improve access through all areas of the organization and the arts sector. We are supported by a number of different organizations. Our main funders at the minute are Arts Council Festivals Investment Scheme, Rethink, which Arts Council are the national organization, national body to fund the arts in Ireland. They're one of the sector's biggest funders and routine funders. They would be one of our main people we'd hope to work with and get continuous support over many years. And they were really behind this festival, and from what I can see, still and still are. Thank you, Arts Council. So we're Rethink Ireland. So Rethink Ireland are an organisation that supports a organizations and businesses to be in their objectives to be more inclusive and accessible to Irish community members. And they've funded us to develop our strategic plans and how Disrupt operates and works. And that has been vital because for us in the Irish arts context, we can get a lot of arts funding to deliver an arts project or an event or a festival, but it's hard to get funding that allows you to build something without delivery. So we were able to get Arts Council funding and also Dublin City Council funding to deliver on our activity. But Rethink Ireland has been something that has allowed us to go deeper into building an organization. And that's been very supportive. Kind of as a young festival, finding something like that was incredible for us. And we also other supporters then are our national broadcasting agency, RTE, who support the arts, and Project Art Centre. I thought maybe now I might select one of the elements from our 2024 program. Again, just there's only one program. But I thought I'd select one and discuss it a little bit more in depth. Which and what to give an insight into artists and topics of discussion across the disability sector in Ireland. And that so in 2024 I myself curated the visual arts exhibition which explored the intersection of disability and the climate emergency. The exhibition was called Distinct because the disability experience and how we interact with the world and the environment around us and how it interacts with us creates distinct perspectives. And the exhibition aimed to highlight those distinct perspectives. The exhibition, so there's on the screen now, there's an image of one of the exhibition, which is a kind of a projection of a giant blue sphere with lilacs and kind of purples and blues. It kind of looks like a glass ball or a marble, or you can tell that it looks fragile and kind of liquidy at the same time. And it reflects onto a floor of what looks like a gallery floor. And in front of it, there's an installation piece on the floor of broken, fragmented glass with with a kind of curvature ceramic piece that kind of looks like a pelvis or a bone-like shape sitting on top of the mirror. That's two works one by this. The projection is by Ruth Laguerre, and the installation on the ground is by Catherine Sankey. So I'm going to now introduce the exhibition a bit more through two videos. The first is kind of a promotional video that explains the title of the exhibition more. And then the second is a video which I created during the exhibition. And I'll play that in a second. I'll play the first video first. So I'll just let this play. There's an audio description that accompanies it, and I'll maybe say a couple of words on it afterwards as well.
White text emerges onto a black background. It reads, "Disability enriches, disables emissions, discern emergency, disburden ecosystems, displace erosion, discover ecology, disrupt extinction." Letters fade to reveal the word distinct. An exhibition exploring the climate emergency through the distinct perspective of disability. Project Arts Centre, March 7th till April 20th, 2024. AlanJamesBurns.com. Logos include Arts Council of Ireland, Dublin City Council, Rethink Ireland, RTE Supporting the Arts, Project Arts Centre, Disrupt Disability Arts Festival.
So that kind of sets up a little bit of the tone of where the title distinct came from. Looking across how where the perspectives of disability enriches in society. From people with disabilities have a lot of unique knowledge and that comes from lived experience that is so beneficial, that's so brilliant, and to help us that I think can help us like disable emissions, where we can discern emergency, because we all have so much in the disability community, have so much knowledge of community care, caring for others, living within our means and dismantling barriers. We kind of understand how to live harmoniously within the world. So we have knowledge that can support this burdening ecosystems. We're curious, where we find new ways of doing things. So, and this is that, like, so we discover ecology. So that's kind of we're protesters, we're activists, we're disruptors, and so we have knowledge that can support the disruption of the extinction and the climate emergency that we're in. That's where the title came from. That's kind of an opportunity for me to just explain that a little bit more. And now I'm going to play a video. It's an 8.5-minute video. It's of me in the exhibition venue at Project Arts Centre. During the exhibition, I did a walk through and a talk, and I talked about the exhibition as a kind of curator's talk, which we didn't do in person. We done it online, on Instagram stories, because it was more as an accessible format for people. which actually got a lot of high engagement. It was one of our highest engaged events, and it was all online. And it was also a brilliant way to be able to. I've neurodivergence, and sometimes I'm not able to say the sentences in the way that makes most sense. And so sometimes editing in this kind of format in these like short stories, and where I can kind of rehearse a sentence and then say it, which it might appear that it's not rehearsed, but believe you me, it was very rehearsed. Well, like not very, like yeah, it was. And so this is that video, and I'll let you play. I'll play it now. Hello, I'm Alan James Burns. I'm an artist curator in the Project Art Centre. I've curated an exhibition called Distinct. It's an exhibition of 12 artists exploring the intersection of disability and climate change. The exhibition is on a 25-minute loop where artworks turn off and on in sequence in order to allow each artwork to say the thing it needs to say, the time it takes to say it. It also explores ideas of ecosystems and things working together, where like drawing resources from each other to be and to kind of reflect a more sustainable way of living and art making. The exhibition explores the intersection of disability and climate change. Climate emergency affects everybody, but it doesn't affect everyone equally. People with lived experience of disability are more affected by climate change. In extreme weather events, climate action policies don't consider us. In heat waves or medications are more affected. We are more sensory to heat because of our sensory needs. In evacuation policies, we are often left behind. But also, lived experience of disability creates many skill sets and learning that are needed for climate action, such as we're resourceful, resilient, know how to navigate avoided barriers, understand community care and how to mobilise to create change. These are aspects we all need in climate to create a more sustainable way of living and a just transition. This exhibition explores that through the work of 12 artists. So the exhibition is on a 25-minute loop, which means that each artwork turns on and off in sequence. So that when one artwork is on, other artworks, other video elements and light elements are off. That allows each artwork to say what it needs to say, the time it takes to say it, reflecting quick time, but we're also that each artwork's not pulling energy and resources from each other, that they're working together in an ecosystem. It also creates a more slower paced and relaxed way of engaging with exhibitions for different audiences, especially some audiences with neurodiversity or different types of disability. It is important for us to work with existing work in order to kind of reflect what the sustainable ethos the exhibition is trying to portray. When we were working with each artist, not every artist was making work that was explicitly about climate change, but I could see that their work underpinned values for a more sustainable way of living. Like Jane Cormack's artwork, The Museum of Broken Tins. Jane, through her lifetime, collects objects that have been discarded and disused as a way to explore value. That is something I think we need to all consider when we're in terms of the climate emergency, and how we can learn from that to reflect on how we consider what is valuable time, how we consume, what is capitalism, and that idea of value. Extreme weather events are having an impact on our access to nature, which thus impacts on our mental health and well-being. This is nowhere more pronounced than in the disability community. Ivana Condon's unapologetic yellow nude embraces nature in all of its well-being and healing forms. Ruth Gear explores the healing powers of nature through their practice. Every day, Ruth jumps into a body of water to engage and embrace themselves with that healing power that nature gives us. This is explored through their video artwork. Katrin Psyche explores how the body interacts with industrial and ecological processes. Through Katrin's installation, she explores how, through brokenness, we can reimagine wholeness. We all experience the world differently. Eric Luke explores how we experience nature through a neurodivergent sensory perspective. Through David Pinnell's poetry, he reflects on how nature doesn't create judgment. The trees don't stare. Lynn Buckles' commissioned essay looks at how we encounter the richness of our environment through a deaf and hard of hearing perspective. Through an ecofeminist perspective, Cecilia Bullell channels rage and anguish to explore extinction of wildlife and languages. This echoes our performance by Suzanne Wald on our opening night, where Suzanne recited the names of extinct animals in Latin. Our public exhibition program also included talks and workshops by Michelle Hall exploring the sensory and healing properties of plants and natural materials, and Aisling Reyna, who delivered a climate action scene-making workshop for the trans disability community. Access is very important for us in developing the exhibition, not just about how audiences interact with the exhibition, but also how we interacted with artists and supported artists, how we worked with all our partners in Project Art Centre. For the exhibition, we commissioned this living, usable sculpture by artist Richard Forrest. The exhibition and artworks are all audio described and available through our Navi lenses, which can be viewed and scanned from different angles and low light within the exhibition space. All the artworks in the exhibition are controlled by a volume guide, which you can personally change to suit your own preference of audio level. All exhibition texts are available in large print, and also as an audio file online, which you can listen to in double or triple speed if you're neurodivergent like me and you need to get your information quickly. An example of embedded access in the exhibition is the audio description by Emily Conway to accompany the Recluse painting.
Come upon a wild woodland scene. Lots of vegetation, branches, twigs, trees, vines, all knotted and gnarly, greens, browns, interlacing.
We were also given a 3.5-week install period by Project Art Centre, which allowed us to work more slowly and in depth with each artist who were able to come in and install their work in a relaxed environment without any pressures of other people and noise levels of other people being in the space. That was distinct is the visual arts strand of Disrupt Disability Arts Festival, a new arts festival which launched here at Project Art Centre March 7th, 2024. Disrupt hopes to become an annual arts festival that supports and celebrates the disability community for years to come. We want to thank everyone who's made the festival possible and who's created an environment where we can launch Disrupt. We hope Disrupt becomes a part of the disability arts ecology to support each other to create a more inclusive future. We want to thank our funders, Arts Council of Ireland Festivals Investment Scheme, Arts Council Visual Arts Project Award, Dublin City Council, Rethink Ireland, RTE Supporting the Arts, and above all, Project Art Centre, who've been the backbone of our support from the very, very beginning. Thank you all very much.
So that was just a video. Thank you for watching it. There's just a still image of one of the elements of the exhibition, which is Katrin Sankey's installation, which is the broken glass on the floor
angular in different ways, with ceramic, beautiful kind of sculptures that reminisce bodily parts like pelvises, shining light and reflecting light all across the kind of wall and gallery space behind it. And in the foreground or background, in the distance, there's a painting on the wall by Vera Clute. So I just thought I'd share that image and just read out some of the quotes. Again, we make what we kind of, it's important to show not our perspective, but other people's perspective on what we do. So there's just 3 quotes. I'll read them out. I found it very moving and intriguing, and I loved how it felt like I was stepping into a different world. My ADHD was playing up, but your exhibition drew me right in, and I was very intrigued and felt connected. The ability to control the volume and grab a chair meant I could explore the exhibition in comfort. I'm a neurodivergent artist, and I definitely get overwhelmed sometimes at exhibitions when there's a lot going on. But your one was great. Loved that each piece was timed, so you went on a journey for 25 minutes. And I knew I could give time and energy to focus on each piece when they came around. That was kind of exactly what the exhibition was trying to do and explore. So it was kind of, there's some kind of reflections by audience members. Other reflections, so some of the feedback that we got, some of the interesting feedback, 100. So we had surveys in different forms where people could give it to us verbally, like write it out, fill out online forms, text us, call us. What we found from the feedback we got was that 100% of our audience had never been to a disability arts festival before. We had a diverse gender representation. We created more than 500 days of employment for the disability community. Our most used access services were Know Before You Go guides and open captions. And areas that we kind of highlighted and want to improve on is embedding access, kind of doing so creative access. So in our art projects, where it's kind of brought in from the beginning and the projects are developed with access in mind. As a new festival, we haven't commissioned anything yet, so we're kind of working with existing work. And so that's a kind of something that we're trying to navigate as we progress and develop. And so it is we can improve. So obviously the disability community is so large and has so many different areas and people. And we have seen that we're able to kind of improve our accessibility and engagement for different audiences across the disability community, and we provide more lead-in time and preparation time for our artists and our audiences. Largely our artists, that we can book them far enough in advance, provide options, alternative options, so if they can't show up in the day, if we're looking at pre-recording performances, so that we can have videos to screen, etc. 2025 and onwards. There's a photograph now on the screen of an audience members at Disrupt this year with a kind of a blue light shining on them. Everyone's looking very kind of intently to the stage. There's obviously something amazing happening. Everyone's wearing masks, and there's a kind of nice lighting on everyone. So Disrupt, our aims for next year is to deepen our community engagement, enhancing the quality of interactions and support rather than simply expanding our reach. So we have no plans to we have no plans to expand the number of events, the number of days that we kind of work on, but we have plans to go deeper into this reaching and engaging across the disability arts community. So getting the quality of engagement better rather than the quantity. We are looking at enhancing our skills in festival management, refining our processes and strategies to deliver even more successful, impactful events. So currently, like as I mentioned before, we have funding from an organization called Rethink Ireland, which is paying us to learn how to run a festival. We haven't we're artists and disabled people who haven't been given many opportunities. So now we're trying to run an organization in a caring and supportive way. So we're doing a lot of upskilling and training and learning how to run a festival basically and build their team capacity. So that's where we're at. What we want, just to finish then on what we kind of our longer term hopes and goals for the festival. We hope so. This is a photograph of us most of the team at this year's festival. We're all wearing the pink t-shirts of Disrupt, all printed on organic cotton with biodegradable ink, and a Disrupt logo. Everyone's on stage with lighting, kind of fancy kind of lighting above them, and the Disrupt logo right in the middle of the stage and on the center, and everyone's kind of lots of pink all over the stage with cushions and chairs and stem toys everywhere. So there is, and everyone's hands are in the air, having our hopes for the festival is our hopes for Disrupt is that it becomes a festival that can offer opportunity, space, and resources for artists to develop and present work. We want it to become a reliable source. We want artists to be able to we want to be able to provide funding for artists, but we also want artists to be like, oh, we have this project. I've nowhere else to show it. Can we show it here? And that's happening already. Once we launched our festival this year, we got so many emails from loads of people across the country who need accessible ways to exhibit art, and so we're trying to navigate that and provide that more. We hope that it can create space for conversation across the disability community, uniting us through shared experience and celebration. And Disrupt is more about kind of creating that celebration and unity and letting the art speak of activism and topics. We want to provide a platform for those discussions rather than shaping those discussions. We want to create opportunities of employment and upskilling for arts workers who have lived experience of disability, and also access providers. So there's currently across Ireland, there's not enough access providers, there's not enough captioners and audio describers, access officers, or people who are producers who understand access. So we want to provide ways to train and provide and support people in kind of skilling up. We want to become a place where we can test and experiment accessibility and technology, and we also hope to grow the festival so that it can become something that other people can lead and take. We want to put a shape on it, and then ultimately allow other people to kind of program it and run it and have their voice in it, and it become a source of employment for other arts workers and curators and festival directors who identify disabilities. So it belongs, we don't see it as being our festival. We see it as being the community's festival, and we're ultimately trying to set it up so that we can hand it over. Where a large part of our work at the minute is trying to future-proof the festival. How do we get a filing name? How do we name our files so that someone in 5 years' time who takes over as the director can understand what we were doing back in 2024? Or how can we create easy systems that become robust, that we can kind of for different and accessible for different people with different types of disabilities, or who are differently disabled by society. So that's our thinking, and that's who we are. That's Disrupt. We are a festival that, and we're the people that's currently running it, but we hope that one day it'll be run by other people, and to give where they can support other disabled artists. This is our website and Instagram and YouTube and email. It's on the slide, disruptdisabilityartsfestival.ie. Our Instagram is disrupt dis arts. Our YouTube is also disrupt dis arts, and our email is disruptdisabilityartsfestival@gmail.com. Thank you all so much.